Jeez, they're still at it. You probably are aware what I, Sam Valentino, private toon detective, am here to lament about. Yeah, the Max streaming service has gone and removed even more animated shows. They've purged all the remaining classic Tom and Jerry shorts. So this isn't very much like Cartoon Network post-2004 anymore, where after they canceled the Looney Tunes, and then the Tom and Jerry cartoons became the only classic material left on the network's lineup, and we soon got weary of it. No, this is more akin to when Tom and Jerry left Cartoon Network in 2016 alongside the classic Looney Tunes, after they returned for several years. But it was all just nothing but Tom and Jerry on both Cartoon Network and on Max, compared to on MeTV and MeTV Toons, where they run the Tom and Jerry shorts alongside other classic MGM cartoons, such as Droopy Dog, Barney Bear, and the works of the great Tex Avery, making it more akin to a Tom and Jerry and Friends block. This is also how they're presented on Tubi, again with Tom and Jerry headlining compilations of all the different classic MGM cartoons. Since after all, Tom and Jerry are one of Warner Bros. Animation's hottest properties, to the point where in the 2000s and 2010s they often treated Tom and Jerry far better than how they treated the Looney Tunes. But that was then, this is now. Max is also gonna remove the classic Yogi Bear shorts, what's left of the Flintstones and the Jetsons and the Smurfs, and the 1979 to 83 Scooby and Scrappy-Doo shows. I'm afraid so. Not even Scoob there is safe from the corrupt mug David Zaslav's wrath in phasing out kids and family content from Max. As part of this, they even purged the more recent Be Cool Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo and Guess Who shows. Currently, of all those, only the Flintstones is available on Tubi right now. They did just add the Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf TV movie from 1988 and that Arabian Nights TV movie from 1994. You know, the one that was basically Hanna-Barbera trying their hardest at being like Animaniacs, down to the Carl Stalling music, and was the source of the popular YouTube boom on this channel, the worst Arabian Nights adaptation ever. Heh, as unpopular as that movie is, I wonder if it means we'll eventually get the original Animaniacs on Tubi in the future. It'll be pricey, because it was co-produced with Steven Spielberg's Amblin Entertainment, but think how popular it'd be there. The original Animaniacs left Hulu a couple years ago, before the final season of the Animaniacs revival dropped there. You know, if Warner Brothers chose to instead stream the Animaniacs revival on the now-defunct Boomerang streaming app, maybe that would have gotten more subscribers or something, and it would have cost less than streaming it to Hulu, especially since Animaniacs is known for being an expensive show to produce, as one could tell by the Carl Stalling influenced orchestral music that acts more like musical sound effects instead of a typical underscore in the true Warner Brothers fashion. And doing this in Arabian Nights was such a drastic departure from how Hanna-Barbera normally did cartoon music. But also regarding the rights to air or stream it, this is also why currently Freakazoid is the only Warner and Spielberg collaboration to be airing on MeTV Toons, and Freakazoid also used to stream on Tubi at one point. Just playing one is pricey enough, but it will cost a lot more to also be airing and streaming Tiny Toon Adventures and Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain there. Well, who knows? MeTV Toons has still been pretty successful, even 10 months after its launch. Some cable and satellite systems are starting to pick it up now. But until the Comcast New England service starts showing it, for now I'm sticking with my friendly TV subscription so I can watch and record off of it, as several of my friends who don't use over-the-air antenna TV are, too. But back to the initial topic of Max removing these shows. It's also bad that they're purging the shows and movies featuring Scooby-Doo, as he too is one of Warner Bros. Animation's huge cash cow franchises. Well, except for Mindy Kaling's Velma adult series that was made exclusively for Max, and it's definitely not for kids. I know what you mean, Scoob. But from my reliable source that's so far been 100% accurate, and I'll be sharing the link to in the video description once again, they've also been removing some Adult Swim original programming. But of course, those weren't made for Max, so it looks like they also wanted to cut down on streaming any content not exclusively made for the service or related to Discovery Communications. This is why I have yet to see a cutoff date for that Looney Tunes cartoons revival from a few years ago, or Jellystone, or Bugs Bunny Builders, or Tiny Toons University, both of whom had wrapped up production, and the final episodes of the latter were dropped onto Max a month and a half ago. Not to mention the DC Comics animated properties originally made for Max. And let me remind you once again, at the start of this year, Max even went and purged most of the darn Teen Titans Go. You know the situation is grave when Cartoon Network's current most popular show is largely removed from the service. Though lately I noticed Cartoon Network has been rerunning more Scooby-Doo content again. Even some of the stuff Hanna-Barbera produced as far back as the beginning in 1969. But I do remember when in the late 1990s and early 2000s, Cartoon Network was being criticized for showing a lot of Scooby-Doo shows and movies, at least until the City era began in 2004, when they greatly scaled back on Scooby-Doo content, with the classic shows only airing very early on Saturday mornings for a while, instead mostly showing What's New Scooby-Doo and the related movies. Instead, it was the mostly inaccessible Boomerang that began to love Scooby more, especially for the Halloween season. Heck, not even MeTV Toons goes as Scooby crazy as Cartoon Network did. They have an hour-long Scooby Sunday special block, formerly 2 hours long, along with showing 2 different Scooby series episodes back-to-back, Monday through Saturday. And while Cartoon Network and Boomerang often played all the different Scooby shows in their own time slots, MeTV Toons just rotates into different Scooby incarnations in the allotted time slot. They'd start with Scooby-Doo Where Are You, of course, and then go to the Scooby-Doo show from 1976 to 1978. Then the Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo stuff from 1979 to 1983. That was just removed from Max, as I said. Then they may show the new Scooby-Doo Mysteries from 1984 in that slot. But in this round, they instead show the infamous Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue series that Cartoon Network outright refused to rerun here. Yeah, that show's almost as universally despised as Mindy Kaling's Velma. But currently, as of this vlog, they are rerunning A Puppy of Scooby-Doo in the Monday to Saturday slot. And on Max, they recently purged seasons 1 and 3 of that show. Well, regarding Season 3, it's a little complicated. Most modern releases often have a Season 4 that comprises of the last 3 episodes of the show's 6-episode third season. They just ended up not airing until the summer 1991, possibly due to production delays. A lot of stuff was going on behind the scenes at Hanna-Barbera then. What really gets me is the whole malarkey where Warner Bros. Discovery goes and shuts down the Boomerang streaming app, claiming they'll be adding those shows onto Max. And they do add some, only to start purging them months later. There's not much of them left. Those highbinders! And going by my reliable source, by the time summer ends, most of the animated shows left on Max that are aimed at kids and family audiences aren't just Max originals, will be realistic DC Comics stuff, mostly from the Bruce Timm universe, like Batman the Animated Series and Batman Beyond, and the Sandra Schwartz Justice League shows. And despite being animated, only Batman the Animated Series really takes advantage of the medium for a really classy Norrisk look. Everything else from that era is just a realistic imitation of live action, defeating the purpose of being animated. And then all those shows will apparently be purged at the very end of this year. Hopefully by then, all these animated shows will have a new streaming home, either on Tubi or if MeTV Toons finally gets around to launching their own fast-paced streaming service that's similar to Tubi. Like I've said before, there are a bunch of Scooby-Doo shows currently streaming on Tubi as well, as many of the classic MGM cartoons, and last month they added the Sylvester Tweety Mysteries and the Looney Tunes show sitcom. Everyone is still hoping the classic Looney Tunes shorts find a new streaming home soon, and Warner Bros. Discovery is well aware of that franchise being one of their most viable franchises. This is why it's currently airing on MeTV and MeTV Toons to modest success, and they found a distributor for the Coyote vs. Acme movie. And Warner Archive is releasing these Blu-rays like this, with the Looney Tunes Collector's Vault Volume 1 coming out next month. I'm pretty excited for it, as it will also include some fun Fox-related cartoons. I'm glad that silly rumor about Warner planning to sell off the Looney Tunes assets has mostly died down. Like they finally got a message. And I hope things do keep improving for the Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry and Scooby-Doo and whatnot. So keep watching this YouTube channel to hear more about what happens next.